Hello, welcome to our small tutorial about particle pack. I will show you how to play with it, material features, shader features, and yeah, let's start. After you import our pack into Unity Standard Render, you can notice that shaders throw errors because of the missing library, and this library you could find in Package Manager in shader graph pack. I hope this will be as a default library inside engine in the future, but until now, until that, you have to simply import shader graph and it will fill missing libraries. It only happened in Unity Standard. At HDRP and URP you don't have to do this. Anyway, after you import shader graph, simply check all these shaders which throw errors and click re-import. And all problems will be gone. This is how it works until Unity will add these libraries. Another tip is that if you use Unity Standard and you don't have a post-processing at your project, remember that emissive materials at Unity Engine appear only when there is a bloom post-processing effect at your camera and screen. So no matter how you will add this to the project, for example, you could use this from Package Manager and Unity post-processing effect, or you could use any other from the asset store if you use them. But if you want to have an emission at your screen, simply you need bloom. So for example, we'll use Unity post-processing. It may happen that at our demo scene, if even there's a post-processing layer, it didn't, I would say, appear, you will have to simply re-add it again. It happened in few engine versions, but it's just few second fix. Okay, so we have a emissive effect at our screen. If you use mobiles, you could leave it like that. If you use PC, I would suggest to use linear rendering. It worked with post-processing much better. It's, I would say, more flexible than gamma rendering. So if you want to change it, simply go to project settings and in player setting change rendering to linear. I feel like it looks much better. After it re-import textures, you could see that everything looks as it should, and emissive and everything works fine. And you could see that without bloom, there is no emission at your screen. So remember about this effect. In fact, emission at your screen is a combination of two things: bloom intensivity and emission power at material. So for different scenes, I guess you should play with these two values. If you use HDRP or URP, remember to import HDRP or URP support packs. There is also README for HDRP and information about diffusion profiles, which are important for HDRP subsurface scattering effects. For URP, you simply import this file. These files will replace prefabs, shaders, materials just for your RP version. So remember about that. Okay, let's take a look on the materials and shaders and shading type. You could see there is a light map, light, prefabs, normal light. There is an unlit light map and unlit normal. Let's take a look on each of these materials. So first, the difference between lit normal material and light material. In fact, light material use rendering pass low resolution. It's only available at HDRP, and it greatly reduces overdraw and rendering usage. In fact, remember that it looks a bit worse. I feel like it loses resolution with this low resolution option, and in fact it also loses depth right. I mean, between low resolution materials there is no such effect like we have here, but if you have two particles and one is low resolution, the second is not, there could be such a ugly effect like you saw before. Okay, another option that we have is that you could use light map based material or normal map based material. Normal map based material is the most expensive, but I feel like it has the best depth of the smoke. Light map are a bit cheaper, but truly they look still very good. There is also lit and unlit versions of the materials. Unlit version of the materials work only with directional light. They are not affected by other light than directional light. You could see that if we will put point light into our scene and let's increase intensity because it's HDRP, the lit materials, which are of course more expensive, are properly affected by light point. But if we will move this light point into unlit materials, they are not affected by it. So in place, for example, where there will be only directional light, I rather advise to use unlit materials because they are really cheaper in render and they really look good too. But in place where there will be multiple lights and effects, I guess lit material are the best option. Okay, so material values step by step. Of course, we have alpha, threshold, and multiply as a setup at our material, so you could modify these values and get specific effect that you would like to get. You could manage the light intensity that affect the particles. You could change the light contrast as well. You could change the color of the light. I mean, you could change the light color which affect our particles, and you could change blending between directional light and light color as well. There is a shadow color setup as well. You could modify it. About emission, you could change the emission color and, for example, emission over time. So you could make the whole smoke become emissive or only bottom part. With contrast, you could, just adjust the effect so the emission will blend or gone more sharp or less. Okay, there is also input textures which are basically flipbook, so whole animation is at the texture. With normal strength, you could manage the power of the normal map, but remember to have use normal option at material. You don't have to use it. It's a nice effect, I feel, but maybe it could be too hard. Of course, there's other PBR setup like smoothness, ambient occlusion, because it's lit material. If you will use HDRP, you will get also diffusion profile and thickness setup, so you could manage the thickness of the smoke and how it reacts with light as a subsurface scattered material. There is also blending option, so particle will nicely blend with opaque object. You could turn it off and you could notice that there are hard edges. Remember that this blending option doesn't work at mobiles. So for mobiles, turn that off. You could of course adjust the blending power, so you could get nice smooth blending between object and particle. Cooling start and cooling distance would make particle more transparent when the camera is closer to the particle, so you will not have a smoke particle on your face, but it will smooth it. About wind, you have two options for wind. One is wind from the center or by edge. For wind from the center is rather for explosions, while by edge is for smoke, because particle life is longer and simply it become more affected by wind. With gust and shear strength you could manage how particle will behave on the wind, and I feel it's a matter of taste. If we go back to emission for a moment, you could see there's an emission procedural or mask option. Mask is on the texture, procedural is procedural function, and you can see they have different effects. About wind, if we back to wind, you could see that if we change wind direction at wind prefab, our smoke will change direction too. Remember, if you use wind to have our wind prefab at your scene. And yeah, I feel it's all about the wind. It's pretty simple to set up. You could see that its particles react very flexible on the wind, and yeah. If we look about a normal map-based material, it works pretty the same. It have different, of course, input because it doesn't input light map, but the whole setup, I guess, are almost the same. It have the same options, just the input texture is different. Unlit, so the cheapest material, doesn't have a PBR input, so no ambient occlusion, no smoothness, metallic options, but in fact it's the fastest material. Okay, now let's look on the fire materials. Basically, fire is unlit because in fact fire is a source of the light. So like every unlit material, it will be only affected by directional light. You could see that you could manage alpha power and switch if alpha should come from texture or not. You could adjust emission power as well, emission color, you could adjust wind. I feel like the wind is the core of the fire effect, because in fact if you will place multiple fires at one place, it may happen that you will notice a bit tearing between them. And with wind, where every particles have pretty different shape because of the local and global wind value, you will notice that it truly become alive. I mean, look, you could adjust how wind react on the mine wind speed and how it shiver, so you get nice noise effect, local effect. Like in the smoke, you have use transparency intersection option, so you could nicely blend fire with opaque objects. Remember, this option doesn't work at mobiles. Anyway, I feel it's all for this tutorial. I hope everything is clear. If not, contact our support. I will simply answer the question and help you with your problems.